Is the Kosas Revealer Extra Bright Corrector worth it? Do you really need a corrector under a concealer? I've been testing this for weeks. Here's what happened. FYI, this was gifted to me. This is not sponsored content. I was not paid to say anything here, good or bad. I'm not here to influence you to buy more. I'm here to give you an actually honest review so you know what to buy and what not to buy. First up, what's inside? I just removed it. I'm going to apply and talk to you. You're also going to see close-ups just so you can make a better decision. But ingredients here, what's inside of this formula? This is a cruelty-free, vegan, and it's silicone-free formula, which is interesting because I'll talk about texture, but it's very creamy. It has peptides. What doesn't? It has caffeine. They're fully transparent with their formula, which I appreciate. There's no regulated term for clean, so I look at transparency. In terms of what we're supposed to do when we finish this, is it clearly noted on the page? No, there's no real information about sustainability from the brand. They've been talking about plastic and going away from it for like 10 years. They haven't done anything yet, so I would give them an F on sustainability and environmental impact. But overall, they're transparent about the formula, so that's something. How does this little guy apply? So as you saw, I put it on the back of my hand. This is the peachy shade. I think it's called Illusion. And then I buff a brush into that. Less is more. I have 45 plus skin. I guess I'm 46 now. Hence the plus. I forgot. I guess that's what starts happening. Anyway, I buff the brush into that. It picks up plenty of product. And then I press it into the corner of the eye. I found this texture while it's creamy, it's very lightweight. It melted in really easily for me. There's no tugging. I just take the remainder and I put it on the outer edge. And then anything else that's in there, you can bring throughout. It also is a multitasker like the concealer that they have, but you just got to be careful because it's peachy. This one is, or neutralizing. It's meant to neutralize. A note on that. So as you can see, I do have dark circles. This is studio lighting. They are darker on the inner corners. That said, you're getting a review from somebody that doesn't have seriously significant discoloration. So just keep that in mind as I'm talking to you. I always like to give you full disclosure and transparency. You can see it, but just because I'm under these lights, I wanted you to know that extra detail. I'll talk about this a little bit more in coverage. I can build it. I'm building this one up a little bit right now. And it built really easily well. So very, very easy, 5 out of 5 for application. Okay, third, coverage. Does it neutralize? Does it apply that coverage really well? Or do I need this and a concealer? Now it's made as a corrector to be worn under concealer. Truth be told, oftentimes I will wear a corrector on its own. And usually if it's a liquid corrector, I have to set that sucker because it's gonna crease. This is supposed to be crease free. Talk about that in a second. But I applied this 3 ways to test it out, and I'm going to show you the close-ups as I talk about it. The first way was just with the corrector. As you can see, it's really strong. That coverage is really, really strong, and I really liked it. However, I did start seeing a couple of creases, so I'm just beating you to the punch on finish. But yes, I did see some creasing. I'm not surprised. It wasn't an instant creaser. If you have crepey skin, you're going to see creasing most likely. That means I would bring a powder into this. If I press a powder on top of it without anything else, the peach it doesn't oxidize, but it looks like it's oxidizing. And then everything looks very peachy under my eyes, which is not the look I want to go for. So if I didn't have to set it, I would really like it on its own. Second, I layered it with a concealer. I have the Kosas Revealer Concealer. This is in shade 3.8N. I've tried a lot of different shades because it's such a good multitasker. You do not need to use this concealer to do this, but I just wanted to show you the second way. I use this as it's said to be, or meant to be used, the brand says, as a corrector neutralizer, and then you apply the concealer on top of it. And this looked great. They blended really nicely. The textures lend themselves to each other very nicely. It didn't feel heavy. It didn't look oily or anything like that. And I liked it. Of course, adding another layer, you're going to see a little bit of creasing. So again, the powder came into it. When I layered the concealer on top and then applied powder, all that peachy emphasis went away. So ultimately, I ended up having to use the 2 of these together. I prefer to not have to do 3 steps for under eye, but sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. The third thing I want to mention here is I applied one eye with just concealer, not in this video, but in the demo. And I applied one eye with a corrector underneath because I wanted to see, is there enough of a difference to validate using corrector and the extra $32? So for me, my situation, my dark circles, which again are not kind of more severe, I really couldn't tell much of a difference. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it in the demo. It's closer. It's better lighting, I think, for you to see that, but it wasn't validating it for me. So at that point, I'm kind of like, I don't know, but maybe one side will wear better than the other side. Coverage was a 5 out of 5. Quick pause. If you're finding this information helpful and you want to support the channel, you can do so for free. Hit the like button. It makes a huge difference over here. Fourth and fifth, how was the wear test? How was the finish? Finish was a 3 out of 5, mainly just because of the creasing that I saw, and it claimed to not be a creasing concealer. So yeah, it didn't really follow through there. Otherwise, I wouldn't say that this is a matte finish. If you're looking for a matte, you can bring in a powder. There are other better matte concealers that you can use and not have to use a powder if you don't want to use a powder under the eye. And then I would say the radiant finish is not oily either, although oily skin types may or may not like that. But there you go. That's why Finish got what Finish got. And then the wear test for me was a 3 out of 5. It held on well with coverage. The creasing just continued, although if I hadn't had the powder, the creasing would have been really bad. With the powder, it held on really nicely. Oddly enough, the combination side with the corrector and the concealer held on better for me with the coverage. It didn't crease as much either, which was sort of counterintuitive to me. I do multiple 8-hour wear tests for weeks on these products. These are not first impressions. So I started seeing that as a pattern, which could convince you that you want to do the two of them together. I don't know. But the total score here was a 16 out of 20 for me. I think it's a really strong corrector. It's not a one and done for me. I can't just wear this alone and set it. I wish I could, but I can't. If you want to see what I would buy instead of this, you can find it all back on thestyleshaker.com. I'm curious, now that we've walked through the 5 basic scorecard criteria, what do you think about this one? Do you think you need a corrector underneath a concealer? I did see a little bit of brightening. There was definitely a little bit of a boost there with the illusion shade. I'm just not convinced, but I'm just one person. I love to hear from this community. So let me know what you think about this one. I know this is a favorite amongst so many people. I'd love to hear your opinion, not only on the concealer, but do you always use a corrector? Do you love it? Are you like, I don't really need a corrector, girl. I can do it just with the concealer. Or do you just use I have so many questions. Anyway, drop me a note below in the comments. I love to hear from you. So keep us posted. And for reference and context, give us your skin type, anything that you think would be helpful because it helps anybody else watching the review. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.